Call of Duty has a lot of games in their arsenal, whether it be the classic golden age of Modern Warfare through the Black Ops series, to the lesser known and hated titles like Black Ops 4 and Infinite Warfare. And everybody has their different opinion on which game is their favorite. I bet you on some level of money that people actually like Call of Duty Ghosts more than any other game. But almost everybody agrees that Call of Duty Vanguard is the worst of the entire franchise. I certainly think that so much that I didn't even want to buy this game. Unfortunately for me though, I didn't have a choice, as when I met my friends for a trip, my buddy Joe gave me the Vanguard disc and told me to make a video. So here we are. And the question I want to pose and then answer right now is Call of Duty Vanguard a bad game? Oh, you bet it is. The campaign follows Task Force Vanguard, where the game actually gets the title from. It consists of special operatives from all over the Allies to find information on a Project Phoenix, one of the most generic plan names ever. They fail, and your silent protagonist, Novak, gets beaten to death by a chair. And then the entire team is captured and interrogated for the entire game. Eventually, they do break out and beat the generic bad guy and his generic evil assistant, but all of the cool parts of this game are flashbacks and origin stories. Why would they do this? I don't get it, because they marketed it as fighting all over the world, but it all means nothing for the actual narrative of the game. The point of telling all of these stories from the writers and campaign leads themselves is they wanted marketable characters for Call of Duty, because apparently that wasn't a thing in this franchise. And to that, I raise you Victor Reznov, Frank Woods, Captain Price, Makarov, Soap, Gaz, and the ever-famous Ghost. Are they really that tone-deaf? I mean, it is Sledgehammer, and they haven't made a good campaign yet, so maybe they were referring to themselves, but it's not how it came across, and it was a disaster, because all of these characters are so annoying and so boring. Stereotypes work in something like Black Ops 1 Zombies because they aren't the focus, they're just a highlight, and that's what the Ultima's crew did so well. They have a cocky pilot, a tempered Australian, generic female sniper number 12, generic guy leader, and his best friend sidekick who dies. That's not a recipe for success. It's actually a recipe for failure, because no one likes a stereotype this bad. And you can't add depth in a flashback if they're presenting the present day characters like stereotypes. This is one of the worst campaigns ever, I think, for any game. Duke Nukem Forever probably still holds that crown, but it's pretty close, at least as a biased look, as someone who likes and enjoys Call of Duty campaigns. If by some chance you buy Vanguard, I'm gonna tell you right now to skip the campaign immediately and head into multiplayer. But by saying that doesn't actually mean the multiplayer is any good either. This is the most painfully mid multiplayer game I have ever played. Maybe it was my limited experience playing it, but all of these maps suck. My first ever game was fighting in a sandy town with a crashed train, and it was the worst map I think I've actually ever played in my life. When Shipment is your best map, a map that has existed since COD 4 and has been remade who knows how many times at this point, you have a serious problem of developing original and interesting, fun maps to play. The best original map I played was another desert one with a road with a bunch of vehicles on it, and everybody would funnel into that road, not the generic looking bunch of buildings, and that was fun. This game also has a super weird ranking system because my first ever game, I think I was level 24. I don't know if this is tied to my Cold War progression, as it's all on the same engine, unfortunately, but I basically had a bunch of stuff unlocked already, and that's really bad progression. My favorite part of early Call of Duty games is building yourself up and unlocking stuff you want. When I have a one-shot tank rifle, why on earth would I use anything else? This thing hits like a truck and can be spammed, so I think I'm actually good. Operators make their unfortunate return here, but that's going to be that way for a very long time since we know they make way too much money on these bundles. If you're looking for a Call of Duty experience that reminds you of the older days, I would go play Cold War, because that game actually has maps that are good and has classic maps that are good and balance out the ones that aren't so great. And if you want to play a good World War II game, the World at War servers are back up, so go nuts. What can I say about Vanguard Zombies that hasn't already been said? It is by far the worst zombies experience you could ever play. At launch, it was a complete disaster, and it still truly hasn't recovered. The base map wasn't round-based, but objective-based. A complete spit in the face to every other's zombies mode, regardless if it was Treyarch or not. Single-player games couldn't pause the game. I assume it was just because it was running on online servers, since everything does at this point, but that is completely unacceptable considering Cold War did it 2 years ago. You were given everything right at the start, but not enough points to truly buy everything, as they changed the complete point system of the game's past to focus more on those objectives. There was no player-first stuff like Pack-a-Punch camos, and overall it just wasn't fun to play. Treyarch had to rush this mode last minute, and it really shows. This game is a downgrade from Cold War, and I have no idea how that happened. People loved Cold War after Black Ops 4's disaster with the zombies mode, and at least the new mechanics they implemented, why not copy every single little thing that made Cold War so great and just make it a World War II themed. Apparently they thought that was too easy or something, as we got Durang Fang, one of the worst zombies maps ever. And I would say more about this mode if it improved, but it really didn't. We got Shino Numa again for like the 5th time, if you count Call of Duty Mobile and that one map that was released as 2 maps that had Shino Numa in it. Yeah, it wasn't ideal at all for one of the most popular side modes of all time. They seemed to understand this, and Treyarch basically, allegedly guys, come on, put a skeleton crew out to finish the rest of the DLC cycle. But yeah, you know, Call of Duty Vanguard, a game I didn't want to play for the life of me, and now that I've actually played it, I want to burn my eyes out. I've played my fair share of bad Call of Duty games. Ghosts, Black Ops 3's campaign, Infinite Warfare, World War II. I would much rather play any of those games than whatever this is. I do believe in those Advanced Warfare 2 rumors, or something other than this being the game Sledgehammer wanted, because even those bad games, there was at least some aspect that worked. Nothing did here. Its campaign is the worst in the series in my opinion. The multiplayer is bland and unoriginal, with some of the worst maps I've ever played. And Zombies is a complete dumpster fire that almost single-handedly killed the Zombies community. What else is there to say? It's the worst World War II COD game, getting beat out by the original in 2003. Activision has forgotten about this game, and I think that's a good idea that we forget it too. So yeah, Call of Duty Vanguard is the worst Call of Duty I have ever played. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy what I do, maybe consider checking out some of my other stuff. Thank you so much.